What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Well, I am at Woodlawn Memorial Park here in Colma, California. This is a cemetery I haven't been to in quite a while, so I decided to come back and pay another visit. This is a beautiful cemetery. It's another large cemetery, one of many here in Colma. And we're gonna walk around and we can see what we can see and find what we can find, and let's get on with it. This beautiful one is the final resting place of Henry Miller. For many years, one of the most prominent men in the West, and known as the Cattle King. He was the Cattle King out here. He lived from 1827, July 21st. He was born in Germany and died October 14th, 1916 in San Francisco. In about 1857, he formed a partnership with Charles Lux, which existed up to the time of the death of Lux in 1887. And it says here in Find a Grave, an interesting story is told of the reason of the forming of the partnership of Miller and Lux. In the year that the partnership was formed, Henry Miller was struggling along with his small butcher business in San Francisco. And hearing that a large number of cattle were to be sold in San Diego, he conceived the idea that if the entire herd could be bought, it would place the control of the cattle market in the hands of the purchaser. Miller, not having the funds to do so himself, mentioned the matter to Lux, who boarded a boat for San Diego. Miller became uneasy that someone else would make the purchase before Lux would arrive there. Started on horseback, and when one horse was rode down, he bought another and repeated the performance several times, reaching San Diego before Lux, and bought the entire herd of cattle before Lux's arrival. Paying enough cash to hold them when Lux arrived and found that Miller had done the thing himself that he had already warned Lux that somebody might do, he concluded that he could make no mistake in immediately making so shrewd a man his partner. The cattle were driven home by land, and with purchases made along the way, the drove being added up to. Upon their arrival in San Francisco, the partnership of firm of Lux and Miller controlled the cattle market of California. From that time, the firm bought the land and cattle, making it a rule not to sell land, but always buy until they became land barons. Their holdings being estimated at 15 million acres of land and hundreds of thousands of sheep, horses, and cattle, the entire estate now being estimated at $75 to $100 million. So let's go take a look at this beautiful, beautiful one. It's just, there's nothing but his name on it. There's no years or anything. It's just here in a corner, right here when you drive up one of the roads here. It's so cool. And there's his name, Henry Miller. This is gorgeous. And this interesting one is the Marine Cooks and Stewards Pacific District. And I guess what I found out about that was it was a small union of cooks and stewards living aboard luxury liners. It was a member of the Congress of Industrial Organizations until being expelled in the 1950s for being communist dominated. So this is a spot for people who were involved in that. Here, it's a ship. Beautiful stone though. Beautiful, gorgeous stone. The Marine Cooks and Stewards Pacific District. And up top, they have that. And there's their, I guess, their logo. And then around the side here is just everybody who, I guess, over the years who were involved. It's quite a large stone here. On this side, and they're on the bottom there, and on the left bottom, there's just names everywhere. Some were pretty recent. 2007, Rosemary Pinnock Interesting little deal here. And it looks like along the base here and all over here is everybody as well. Robert C. Zeef, 1975. And I guess his wife Barbara, 1970. And it goes all the way down, all the way up here. Interesting little monument here. Definitely cool. But there's just a couple other rows in the back there of people. Let's go check out some other stuff. Here's a spot for United States veterans over here. There's Kenneth A. Johnson, Private First Class, U.S. Army, World War II, February 26th, 1921 to June 18th, 1990. It says, beloved wife, Anna M. Stewart, October 23rd, 1917 to October 31st, 1983, but I would assume the husband is not on the stone yet. I wonder. Dale Vinton Regal, U.S. Navy, World War II, 1919 to 1985. Beautiful. Harold Jacob Anderson, U.S. Navy, World War II, Korea, December 30th, 1921 to April 12th, 1983. Wow. There's just all kinds of stones all the way around, as you can see here. So, thank you all for your service, and may you all rest in peace. Oh no, Children's Sanctuary. And he said, suffer little children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven. This is the children's section here. Heartbreaking to see these. So this whole section here, that's the children's section. Pretty good size. Some of these children were just 1 year old. Some of them died pretty recently. Some of them died a long time ago. November 29th, 1977 to January 12th, 1978 on this one. Juanita Davis, June 2nd, 1991 to 1992, it says. Little Angel. Wow. They got the little Fisher Price phone on there. That's heartbreaking right there. Shoot. Out of all the stuff I do on this channel, this kind of stuff, the children's stuff, this is like the hardest for me to do. I don't know if you guys notice, I don't spend a lot of time in these sections just because I feel, you know, it's just so sad. Daniel Stephen Lowe, April 4th, 1988 to December 20th, 1988. Valerie Dawn McLeod, June 7th, 1966 to July 9th, 1966. It's a simple little marker, isn't it? And you find toys, probably things that were their favorite toys on these markers. It just, oh boy, it makes it even more heartbreaking. Stephen Anthony Volpe, August 16th, 2000, in memory of our little angel. And they got little cars on top. Up here, I'm noticing a big monument, and it looks really awesome, interesting. It's up the road here a little bit, so we're gonna go up there and look at that real quick and check it out. This one is awesome. It's a big monument, and it says on it, "In perpetual memory of the Masonic Cemetery Pioneers." And I could see this from down the road. It was so big, so awesome, and it's got 2 statues on either side of it. This is something else. Beautiful. Masonic Cemetery Pioneers. And there's the symbol up top. On top stone there. Let's go up these stairs and check it out. This is beautiful. I'm gonna turn around. I'm not on the top step yet, but I'm gonna turn around. There's those statues at the bottom that are so cool. Walk around the back to see if they have, or on the sides, to see if they have anything else. Oh, interesting. Looks like somebody was camping out. Here we are from the very top of this thing. Let's get up here and see the view of the cemetery from all around here. Last name is Tran, but this one, look at this one. Hua Van Tran. April 18th, 1929 to March 11th, I think 2001. It's kind of hard to get close to it, but look at the design on this one. This is like a nice. There's a lot of these types in this cemetery as well. These types of constructed graves. Over here up the hill here, there's this little private, very little here. Voorhees is the last name. The Mason symbol is above the name. I don't know if you can see it, the sun's shining down really hard. Let me see if we can see inside a little bit. Ah, looks like there's urns and stuff in there. On the left, 3, and on the right, 3, going up and down. It's beautiful. It's kind of hard to see any names or dates. I think I see a 1951 in there. The glass is kind of dirty as well, but yeah. Getting back up into the hill here in the back of the cemetery, there's a lot of shade back here. I saw this stone, it caught my eye. I thought it was awesome. Frank M. Grant and Pearl May Grant. And there's a Mason symbol again. Frank lived from 1886 to 1933, and Pearl 1886 to 1955. Pearl May. And I saw this statue from a distance, and I thought it was awesome, and it caught my eye. Huh. Some old stones, some new stones, some old stones back here. This one right here, I think it's Anna Lewis, 1875, I think, to 1933. It's kind of hard to make out. It's all right there on that right side of the book stone design. And there's a John. Let's see here. World War II, but he's not in the veterans section. He's over here by himself, which is strange. U.S. Army, World War II, October 20th, 1906, February 9th, 1988. I wonder why they did not place him in the veterans part that I showed earlier. Huh. Back up here under the trees. Some of these stones, man. So I love going to the back of the cemeteries, up under the brush, the trees. You always find something. Becknell, Kenneth E., 1911 to 1956. And then Francis, 1911 to 1993. But look at this one over here. These are the ones I like. You can tell these are like super, super old. I'm glad a little bit of shade here getting out of the sun. I have water. I forgot my hat today, but we're ducking in and out of shade, so it's all good. Dora Martloff, 1881 to 1942. Morgan Annie, 1880 to 1941. Huh. Do you remember that video I did about a week or so ago about Joseph Kretzer? He was the bank robber that was sent to Alcatraz back in the 40s, and him and some accomplices tried to escape. And he was the one that his ashes were in the columbarium at Cypress Lawn up the street here, and then his ashes went missing, and left inside his little niche was just one dried little flower. Well, the other accomplice, there was a guy named Bernard Paul Coy. He was another guy that was Mr. Kretzer's accomplice in this escape attempt at Alcatraz back in the 40s. And he also died in the Battle of Alcatraz. So Mr. Coy is interesting because nobody ever claimed his body. I don't know if he didn't have any family members or anybody that was around that cared enough, being that he was a bank robber and it sounded like a career criminal himself, that wanted to claim the body. So his body went unclaimed for a little while. And after some time, I guess Alcatraz decided to just put him in an unmarked grave in Woodlawn here, this very cemetery, in an unmarked grave. So of course, right now I can't find the whereabouts of that grave. Today is Sunday, and that's usually the only day of the week I have to go out and film content. And a lot of the times, cemetery offices are closed Sundays. So I'm gonna have to, at some point, maybe when I come back again, I can come back on a weekday and go into the office to see if they know where Mr. Coy's grave, unmarked grave is. It would be very interesting to find another member of the Battle of Alcatraz, the escape attempt back, I think it was 1941. But on Find a Grave, it has Mr. Coy as being buried here in the cemetery somewhere in an unmarked grave. And I wouldn't mind finding out where it is. But maybe next time, guys. I'll try to keep you updated on what's going on with that. So let's go. So I found a cemetery worker. Interesting thing here. He says, actually, a lot of people ask about the location of Mr. Coy's grave. And he says it was very surprising how many people actually, probably people who are into history and stuff, come and ask about it. He directed me to the back of the cemetery here. He says he does not know the exact location, but he had heard rumors that Mr. Coy, Bernard Coy, one of the participants in the Battle of Alcatraz, is buried back here somewhere. So, but he's not sure himself. So that's going to have to come for some additional investigating. Maybe the cemetery has records. Maybe if it's an unmarked grave, they don't keep records. Maybe there's like a section where there's a potter's field kind of thing. I don't know. But supposedly it's back here somewhere, but he is not even sure himself. But then he says I'm welcome to come back when the cemetery office is open to ask. Looks like there was just a service here, I guess, not too long ago. Flowers and everything all gathered up. And this stone right here, very interesting. It's under the trees here, so it looks like it's held up well. John M. Neville died April 17th, 1880, aged 50 years, 5 months, and 3 days. And his wife, Sarah A., died April 12th, 1911, aged 83 years. Wow. But I love the stone. I love the design of the stone. And next to it is the infant daughter, I guess part of this family that I just showed, like Neville, infant daughter of Henry Smith and Cora Neville Brenner. July 25th, July 25th, 1888, my mistake. This is the bottom baby. So 1888. Cora, I guess, was part of this family here that I just showed. She and her husband, Henry Smith. Tell you something here. This cemetery does not have a lack of interesting stones. Look at this one. I don't think it has any name on it. Oh, here we go. Francis William Mosher, age 27, son of John and Selema, age 29 years. It's kind of hard to see because this boulder on top is creating a shadow on it, but you know, it's kind of hard to read anyway, but yeah. Willing to bet that these trees were strategically planted around these graves here. They're perfect. 4 of them, 1 on each corner. This is the Hanson and Lofstad family. Let's look at some of these dates. George, 1870 to 1876. Louis, 1864 to 1900. Oscar, 1874 to 1928. Louis, there's another Louis, 1900 to 1981. Henry, 1895 to 1985. Bertha, 1807 to 1885. John, 1843 to 1914. And Rebecca, 1886 to 1973. So Lofstad Hanson family here, looks like. And more of these trees, but back behind this, in the center, in the back here of all these trees here, is Gilchrist, or Gilchrist, however you pronounce it. I wonder if there's actually on the other side any more description of. Let's go around here. James, 1861 to 1932, of Roth, Scotland. His wife, Agnes, 1865 to 1951, of Neilston, Scotland. And the son, Arthur, 1895 to 1969, of San Francisco, and daughter, Agnes, 1898 to 1970, of San Francisco. And it says at the very bottom there, forever with the Lord. And I'm sure the family, like I said, they strategically planted these trees on all 4 sides. Here's a stone of John Eckfeldt. He lived from February 6th, 1831 to 8th of October, 1874. And it says on his inscription, I have it on Find a Grave here. It says, for many years and at his death, an officer of the United States Mint, born at Philadelphia, died in Oakland, California. So he was an officer of the United States Mint. Very interesting. There's a Mason symbol on this as well. And then I guess there's a little bit of this bronze sculpture of him, I do believe. That's a beautiful stone. Hope this comes out good on the camera here. But beautiful, beautiful stone. And his angel mother, born July 30th, 1838, died February 4th, 1884. 1839 was the born. 1839, died February 4th, 1884. Gone but not forgotten. Huh, interesting. There's another stone. This is some of the older spots here. George W. Hinckley died January 1st, 1875, aged 34 years. Look at this. This is old. It's held up pretty well, but the top part's kind of going, but the part where the name is actually still holding up pretty well. Arthur Wellington Bogart. What I could find out, it was another landowner. He lived for 1843. He was from Nova Scotia, Canada, and died February 13th, 1916, San Francisco, California. I found a clip on Find a Grave of his obituary, I guess. It says, in this city, February 18th, Arthur W., dearly beloved husband of Jemina A., father of Andrew T., Adeline, and late Sewall B. Bogart, a native of Nova Scotia, Canada, funeral private from his late residence, 350 Buchanan Street, San Francisco. And I also looked elsewhere and found that this gentleman was a landowner as well. But unfortunately, I don't think, you can't see through the window. It's covered. Well, it's glass, but it looks like it's pretty, I can see a little bit of light coming through it, but it's pretty full of muck on the glass. Last name of Sanguinetti Faricio. Woohoo! She was born March 10th, 1875 in Italy and died January 8th, 1960. It says real estate property investor and owner. She donated the statue of St. Francis that was outside of the St. Francis Church on Vallejo Street in North Beach for many years before being removed. She also left $2 million in her estate to various children's hospitals and charities in San Francisco. At that time, these were the largest gifts ever to be received. And it looks like there's a spouse in there, Giuseppe, 1858 to 1929, a child, Louis, 1891 to 1913, and Attilio, 1895 to 1947. So, into real estate and left $2 million to a charity. How gorgeous this is. Excuse me, those allergies. And it's at the bottom, it says Pitry and silver. Glass, you can kind of see through the glass. There's an awesome stained glass in there. But that's the inside. It's hard to tell who's who. Through the glass, kind of dirty, and through my viewfinder, kind of hard to tell, but that's how the inside of it. We're gonna look at a couple more before I bail on this one. Just a couple of more beautiful little private mausoleums out here. Out here's pretty spacious out here. Still, in this section here alone, looks like there's still a decent amount of room. And here is a spot they have dug for, maybe it's for the headstone. Could be for the headstone. This one is gorgeous. Can't see inside of it though, I don't think. But it looks like at the top the glass is a little clearer. But get a look at the inside. Kind of hard. Not coming out too well. Before we get out of here, let's look at this beautiful one, Joseph Sullivan. What I found about Joseph was, I guess he was a banker and lived in the San Francisco area. Interesting here. There's no glass over it or anything, so it's just wide open. So let's kind of go look in, see what the deal is. Beautiful. And Joseph is right there on the middle right side. Born December 12th, 1843, died November 11th, 1932. Gorgeous. I don't think it's been visited in quite a while. But and Catherine died April 28th, 1917. I think it was the spouse, I do believe. It's beautiful. There's old candles back there next on the mantle next to the window. Oh, that's old. Interesting. Alright guys, I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure. A little longer than normal, I do believe, but it was still a beautiful cemetery. There's still more to see here. I'll have to come back at a later date and kind of finish up what I was doing here today. But thank you all so much for coming along. It was awesome. It was great. Found some interesting people, some real estate types, some landowners, cattle owners. We found a few today. So thank you all so much, and I'll talk to you later.